Hi everyone, in this video I'll be going through the 2021 Sec 2 Express End of Year Examination paper. So I hope we have finished this paper before you watch this video. Alright, let's get started. Okay, let's look at question number 1. A solution of this equation here is x equals to negative 3. So what does that mean? It means that for this equation here, the value x equals to negative 3 satisfies this equation here. So that means if I sub this value of x inside, it will work for this equation. So what I'll do is that, to find the value of c, I'll sub in when x is equal to negative 3. I know that this equation still makes sense. So negative 3 squared minus 5 times negative 3 plus c is equal to 0. Then I just continue to simplify. Negative 3 squared, the whole thing is 9. 9 plus 15 plus c equals to 0. This means that 24 plus c is equal to 0. Therefore, c is equal to negative 24. Okay, this is for part A. And part B, hence find the other solution of the equation. So over here, this means since I know that c is negative 24, x squared minus 5x minus 24, this is equal to 0. Okay, so therefore, if we recall again, how do we solve quadratic equations? We factorize them. So how to factorize this? You can use your tic-tac-toe method or the cross method. So by factorization, I will get over here, okay, this will be x squared and negative 24. Okay, so I'll get x, then 3 and 8. Okay, then 3x, 8x. To get negative 5x, the minus will be here. Okay. Okay, so over here, this will be x plus 3 times x minus 8 equals to 0. This means that x plus 3 is equal to 0, or x minus 8 is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to negative 3, or x is equal to 8. Answer to this solution. The other solution, we already know that one solution is x equals to negative 3, so therefore the other solution is x equals to 8. So that is your answer for part B. Alright, let's now move to question number 2. Question number 2 here, the map has a scale of 4 cm to 10 km. So this means that if I want to express in this form here, the unit should be the same. So 4 cm is to 10 km. We know that this means that 4 cm is to 10,000 meters, and meter convert to cm is times 100. 4 cm is to 0. Okay, this will be 1 million cm. So therefore we know that this is the same as 4 is to 1 million, and therefore 1 is to, I divide 1 million by 4, 250,000. Okay, and so therefore your answer for part A, write the ratio in the form of 1 is to n, this will be 1 to 250,000. Alright, this is for 2A. Moving on to 2B. A shopping center is represented by an area of 60 cm square on the map. So based on the length, I know that the length scale is 1 cm is to 250,000 cm. So if I were to make my life easier, to remember to find area, we have to square my length scale, but this number is too big. So what I'll do is I'll first convert this number to something smaller by changing the units from cm. This will be 1 cm is to, I convert cm to meters first, divide by 100, this will be 2,500 meters. Okay, which tells us this is 1 cm is to 2.5 km. Okay, so therefore, area scale, to get the area scale from the length scale, I square the length scale over here. So this means that 1 cm square is to 2.5 km, the whole thing square, which will give me 6.25 km square. Okay, so therefore, over here, actual area, if I have 60 cm square on the map, this will be actual area is 6.25 km times 60. Okay, so very simply, this is simply 6.25 times 60, which will give me 375 km square. Okay, and your answer to part B is 375. Alright, so let's now move on to part 3A. Okay, solve this inequality here. Okay, so over here I have 23 minus 12q is less than -1. To solve inequality, algebra on the left side, all numbers on the right side. To get rid of negative of 23, I minus 23 to both sides of the inequality. Negative 12q is less than -1 minus 23, which will be negative 12q is less than negative 24. Now to get rid of this negative 12 multiplied to q, I will divide both sides by negative number. And if we divide by negative number, the inequality sign must flip. Okay, so this will be negative 24 divide by negative 12. Remember, divide or multiply by negative number, the inequality sign must flip. So this will become q more than 2. Okay, so inequality, unsolved inequality means your final answer should be an inequality as well. Okay, don't just write 2. The final answer is q more than 2. Okay, this is for 3a. Okay, 3b, show your solution on the number line below. So over here, this is more than, it is a hollow circle. Maybe I highlight hollow circle. So therefore, q more than 2 is simply I find 2 on this number line, which is here. I draw a hollow circle. Q is bigger than 2. So therefore, q must be following this direction in this case. Okay, draw an arrow, and this is your answer for part B. Alright, you can cross check. Okay, so from here, write down the smallest possible value of q such that q is a factor of 56. So if we want to find factors of 56, let's highlight first. Factors of 56. We have 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 4 times 14. Any other factors? Times 6 times 7. Okay, so these are all the different factors of 56. So from here, how do we find the another factors of 56? In this case here, if we were to look at the numbers here, we know that q must be strictly greater than 7. Okay, so over here, sorry, did I press right wrongly? This one should be, other factors of 56, we have, let's say 56 divided by 6. No other factors, is it? Yeah, I think this is all the factors we have. 6, 8, other than 7 times 8. Okay, so we have these different factors of 56. Sorry, it should be 1 times 56, 2 times 28, 4 times 14, and 7 times 8. Okay, so over here, if I look at this this number line over here, numbers that are strictly bigger than 2 lies within this range over here, but we cannot include number 2 because this inequality does not include 2. So smallest possible value of q is 4. 4 lies within this range over here. Answer is simply 4. Okay, this is for question 3c. Alright, let's move on to question number 4. Question number 4, in the diagram below, triangle DAB is congruent to triangle DCB. So I know that if they say that these two triangles are congruent, the vertices will match. Okay, so this means that find the length of AD. AD, it is these two vertices over here. So I know that AD will match with, I look at the other triangle here, it will match with CD. Okay, CD, and this is equal to 8. Okay, so this is for part A. The length here will be 8. Okay, which tells me that next part, show that triangle DAB is a right-angled triangle. Remember the presentation, to show that something is a right-angled triangle, we have to use the converse of Pythagoras theorem. So first step, identify the longer side. I know that in this triangle here, DAB, the longest side is DB, this length over here. Okay, so over here I first write DB square is equal to 17 square, which is 289. Now I add the sum of the square of the two other sides, AD square plus AB square, which is 8 square plus 15 square. Calculate in your calculator, you should also get 289. So once I've concluded this, therefore, since 8db square is equal to AD square plus AB square by the converse of Pythagoras theorem okay, triangle DAB is a right angled triangle where, and which is the right angle, we can always remember right angle is always opposite the longer side, where angle DAB is the right angle. Okay, so this is for question number 4b. Okay. Alright, let's now move on to question number 4c. Find the shortest distance from A to DB. Okay, so we'll look at this again. Where would the shortest distance from A to DB be? It will clearly be a perpendicular distance from A to DB. This is the shortest possible distance, okay, from A to DB. So how do we find this distance over here? Okay, there are different ways to do it. Since I know that this is a right angled triangle, right? I know that this is a right angled triangle. Okay. I know that area of the triangle here. We know area of any triangle is half times base times height. So over here, area of triangle DAB is equal to half times the, if I take this as the base, the height will be 15 because this is perpendicular. Okay. If I take 17 as the base, the height would be this shortest distance between A and DB. So I call this distance here H. Okay, I call this distance here H. So maybe let me write properly H. So over here, area of triangle DAB can be given by half times base times height. If I take my base to be 8, the height will be 15. Okay, half times 8 times 15 is also equals to, if I take this to be the base, the height will be this H over here. Half times 17 times H. So I can equate them together because both values are area of the same triangle. They should be the same answer. So half times 8 times 15 is equal to half times 17 times H. Okay, so therefore, H is simply equals to half times 8 times 7 times 15 divided by half times 17. Okay, therefore, final answer to this question, answer is simply 7.0588. You can round off to 3SF to be 7.06. Okay, this is in cm. Okay, so 7.6 cm, 3SF. Or you can also leave it as mixed fraction, 7/1/17 cm. Okay. I usually prefer to leave it in mixed fraction because it is more accurate. Okay. So this is for question part C. Okay. Let's now look at question number 5. Okay. A graph of 2x plus y equals to 3 is drawn on the grid. On the same grid, draw the graph of half x minus 2. Okay. So whenever you're asked to draw a graph, right, usually we draw a very simple table of values. For this equation here, I'm required to draw the equation of this straight line. Okay. I'll first draw a simple table of values, x and y. Okay. Remember, to draw any straight line, we just need 3 points. Okay. I look at my grid over here. Y. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay. I look at my grid here. I got my x is from -2 to 2. So naturally, my x values here I can put from -2 to 2. The middle value will be 0. Okay. Then now I sub in. What is the y value when x is -2? I sub into here. When this becomes -2, okay, over here it will become -3. If I sub in x equals to 0, this will become -2 and -1. Okay. So from here, once I've done that, I can now plot the graph of this straight line. I plot the points first. -2, -3 will be here. 0 and -2 will be here. And 2 and -1 is here. Okay. Then now I'll draw a straight line that connects this points together. Okay. Okay. Oops, my line is... Okay, it's harder to draw on the iPad, so I will maybe move this up like that. Yeah. Okay. Something like this. Okay, I can extend my line out because the question never say my x is within 2 and negative 2. So I can extend my line out beyond negative 2 and 2. So once I draw my line, very important, because there are two lines, I must label my graph. This is the equation. This line that I drawn has the equation y equals to half x minus 2. Okay, this is for question 5a. Next one, question 5b. Use the graph to solve the simultaneous equation. This two equations over here. So to solve these two equations, it means that what is the value of x and y such that it will satisfy this equation and this equation. If you were to look at this graph, right, these are all the x and y value that satisfy this equation over here. These are all the x and y value that satisfy this equation over here. So the only x and y value that satisfy both equations is the intersection over here. So if I look at my graph, intersection is when x is equal to 2 and y is equal to negative 1. So very simply, x is equals to 2 and y is equal to negative 1. And this is the answer for question 5b. Alright. Next one, question number 6. Expand and simplify this. So very simply, this is equal to negative 3 multiplied to all the terms within the bracket by the distributive law. Negative 27x minus 3y. Next one, 4 distribute to y and negative 10 plus 4y minus 10 minus 40x. Okay, continue to simplify, you'll get the x term can combine together. Negative 27x minus 40x will give me negative 67x. Then negative 3y plus 4y. It will give me plus positive y. So answer is negative 67x plus y. Okay, this is for question number 6. Moving forward, question number 7. Okay, factorize completely, meaning that my final answer should be something times something. Okay, so over here, I see common factors a plus c plus and times a plus c over here. So therefore, I have a copies of a plus c minus b copies of a plus c. This can turn into a minus b copies of a plus c. Okay, so over here, answer for question 7a is simply a minus b times a plus c. Okay. Question 7b. Okay, I have 4 terms. When I have 4 terms, remember we usually have to do grouping. So over here, I look at the first 2 terms first. I take out common factor. I can see that maybe what I'll do is I'll rearrange my terms to make it easier for myself. 8y and negative 8y can arrange together. 8y minus 8y square plus xy minus x. Okay, so first 2 terms. Common factor, I see 8y. I can take out 8y. First term left with 1. Second term, take out 8y, I'm left with minus y. Next 2 terms over here. Common factor is x plus x. I'm left with y minus 1. Okay, but take note, over here, 1 minus y is not the same as y minus 1. How do I make them the same? I must factorize out another negative 1 to change the sign to make this the same. So 8y times 1 minus y minus x, this will become 1 minus y. Because I take out the negative sign, negative 1 will become positive 1. Positive y will become negative y. Okay, remember your sign over here. This is a very important sign to have. Okay, then since now these two factors are the same, this will become 8y minus x times 1 minus y. So answer for part B is simply over here 1 minus y times 8y minus x. Okay, and your last one, factorize this. X plus 1 square minus 25. I hope you can recognize the special identity. A square minus b square is equal to a plus b times a minus b. So over here, this can be seen as x plus 1 square minus 5 square, which is equal to, I turn this into, my a is x plus 1, my b is 5. So this will become x plus 1 plus 5 times x plus 1 minus 5. Final answer is simply x plus 6 times x minus 4. Okay, so answer for this question is simply x plus 6 times x minus 4. Okay, moving forward, let's look at question number 8 now. Okay, the diagram shows the curve. This curve cutting the x-axis at A and B. And the line x equals to 4 cuts the curve at D. Find the coordinates of A, B, C, and D. So very simply, A and B are your x-intercept. Okay, we can label them. These are x-intercept. How to find x-intercept? So over here, x-intercept, it occurs when the y value of the curve is 0. Okay, when y is equal to 0, we know that the equation of the curve is this. So I sub in y equals 0, I get x plus 2 times 6 minus x is equal to 0. This means that x plus 2 is equal to 0, or 6 minus x is equal to 0. Therefore, x is equal to negative 2, or x is equal to 6. So very simply, since A is obviously on the negative side of the x value, we know that, therefore, A is the coordinate is negative 2, 0. B has the coordinate 6, 0. Okay. Next part C, we know that this is a y-intercept. Y-intercept occurs when x is equal to 0. So over here we can write y-intercept. It occurs when x is equal to 0. So over here when x is equal to 0, y is equal to 0 plus 2 times 6 minus 0. You will get 12. So therefore, C has the coordinate of 0, 12. Okay, last one, D. It occurs when D lies on the line x equals to 4. So that means the x coordinate of D is equal to 4. Okay, so over here, when x is equal to 4, y is equal to 4 plus 2 times 6 minus 4. Okay, we'll get 6 times 2, answer is 12. So therefore, D has the coordinate 4, 12. Okay, so over here for question number 8, answers are negative 2, 0, 6, 0, 0, 12, and 4, 12. Okay, this is for question 8A. Okay. Question 8B, state the equation of the line of symmetry of the graph. How do I find the middle of x value of the graph? Very simply, just take the two x-intercept together, find the average, the middle. Okay, so over here, line of symmetry, the equation is simply x is equal to, I add the two x-intercept together, which is negative 2 plus 6 divided by 2 to find the middle, the average. Answer is equal to 2. So therefore, take note, question said equation, so your answer should be an equation. X equals to 2, not just the value 2. Okay. Alright, moving forward, question number 9. Part A, find the value of k when x is equal to 3, y is equal to 2. This is very simple, just sub in the values. This k is equal to cube root of, when x is equal to 3 and y equals to 2, this will be 3 plus 2 divided by 3 minus 2. Okay. So this is simply cube root of 5. Okay, press in your calculator, you should get 1.71, round off to 3 SF. Okay, 1.71. Okay, next part, express x in terms of y and k. So I want to make x the subject. Over here, how do I get rid of a cube root? Remember, if I have a square root, I square both sides. So to get rid of a cube root, I will take cube on both sides. So this means that k cube is equal to x plus y over x minus y. Okay, then to make this equation easier, I'll simplify it by getting rid of the fraction by cross multiplying. So this will be k cubed times x minus y equals to x plus y. Okay, then I expand, x k cubed minus y k cubed is equal to x plus y. To make x the subject, I shift all terms with x to the left side, all terms without x to the right side. So this will be xk cubed minus x is equal to y plus yk cubed. Okay, So over here, to make x a subject, I factorize out the x times k cubed minus 1 equals to y plus yk cubed. Therefore, x is equal to y plus yk cubed divided by k cubed minus 1. And that is your final answer to this question. Okay. You can also factorize this, up to you. Okay, but answer is the same. X is equals to y plus yk cubed over k cubed minus 1. Okay. Okay, and the last part over here. Okay, explain why if it's possible to find a value of k when x is equals to y. So over here, if I look at the expression again, I know that k is equal to cube root of x plus y divided by x minus y. Okay, when x is equal to y, my numerator will become 2y. My denominator will become x minus y, which will become 0. So over here, when x is equal to y, the denominator, x minus y, will be equal to 0. What will happen if a fraction has a denominator 0? If you press on the calculator, right, you will get math error. Why do you get math error? It's because any fraction with a denominator 0 is undefined. So over here, this means that x plus y over x minus y is undefined. Therefore, if I cube root any undefined value, there's no answer for it. Okay, so therefore over here, there is no possible value of k. No possible value of k. Okay, and this is your answer for part C. Okay. Alright, let's now move on. Question number 10. Okay, simplify the following answers, leave your answers in positive index form. Remember, means that your final answer powers must all be positive numbers, positive integers. Okay, so over here, let's do it step by step. I see x squared times y squared. This whole thing, this square applies to, you can bring down to each individual term. This will become x power 6 times y power negative 10. Okay, then now I can combine together. This is the same as x squared times y squared times x power 6 times y power negative 10. Okay, x terms can combine together. X squared times x power 6 is equal to x power 8 times y squared times y power negative 10 is 2 minus 10, which will be y power negative 8. Okay, and to turn into positive index form, if I have a negative 8 power, this can turn into x power 8 times 1 over y power 8. Simplify my final answer, I'll get x power 8 divided by y power 8. So this is the answer for part A, x power 8 divided by y power 8. Okay. Next part, part B. Okay, when I see a divide sign, same as what you learned in primary school, KCF, 6x over 8y is equal to times 2 over 9x squared y. Okay, then now, how do I multiply fractions together? Remember, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator, I will get 12x over, okay, 12x over 9 times 8, which is 72, then x squared, then over here I have y times y, which will give me y squared. Okay, then next step, simplify, 12 divided by 72. This can be simplified to become, where's my blue pen? This can turn into 1 over 6. Okay, so then x can cancel out to become 1. The bottom I'm left with 1 copy of x. So final answer to this question, this simply becomes, numerator is just 1 over 6xy squared. Okay, this is the answer for part B, 1 over 6xy squared. Okay, last one, part C. Okay, when I see a negative power, what we can do is first make your life easier by getting rid of the negative, by flipping the fraction. So this will turn into x over 3 the whole thing square. Okay, then after that, the square will go to the numerator and denominator. Numerator square will be x squared. denominator 3 square, remember it's not 6, 3 square is 3 times 3, which is 9. So final answer for part C is simply x square over 9. Okay. Alright, moving forward, question number 13. Solve this equation over here. Okay. So over here, I hope you can see patterns. Okay, in order to solve this equation here, what I can do is simply 3 over x plus 1, okay, minus away. Okay, if you notice any similarity in the denominator, right, instead of just here multiply by 2x plus 2, if you can spot patterns, 2x plus 2 is simply equals to, factorize out 2 times x plus 1 equals to 5. Then you notice, similar, right, x plus 1, x plus 1. So all I need to do is to multiply 2 to this entire fraction here to make the denominator the same. So over here, this will become 6 over 2 times x plus 1 minus away 1 over 2 times x plus 1 equals to 5. So therefore, now that denominator is the same, I can combine the numerator. This will be 6 minus 1, which is 5 over 2 times x plus 1 equals to 5. Then from here, I can simply cross multiply. I'll get 5 is equal to 5 times 2x plus 2. I expand out the denominator here first to get 2x plus 2. Okay, so this will be 5 is equal to 10x plus 10. So this means 10x is equal to negative 5. X is equal to negative 5 divided by 10. This can be simplified to become negative half. So therefore, answer for this question is negative half. Or let's say if you choose to do the other method, whereby you make 3 times 2x plus 2 over x plus 1 times 2x plus 2. Then you do the minus away, then you multiply this one by x plus 1 over 2x plus 2 times x plus 1 equals to 5. Okay, you can also do that. Okay, so if you also do that, you will get two answers as well. X equals to negative half, or x is equal to negative 1. Okay, so you can also do that if you get this answer over here, but take note, if you do that, you need to check this answer here. You have to reject x equals to negative 1, rejected. Why do we need to reject such an answer? Because if you look at the original fraction, I see that this fraction here has the fraction 3 over x plus 1. If I get x equals to negative 1, the denominator here will become 0. So therefore, this answer is invalid, as the first fraction here, the denominator cannot be equal to 0. Okay, so x cannot be negative 1. Alright, so therefore you should get the same answer, x equals to negative half. Alright, let's now move on to question number 12. Okay, the gravitational field strength G is inversely proportional to the square of radius r. So I highlight important terms to take note. G, inversely proportional to the square of radius r. So this means that G is equal to, is inversely proportional, so it's k over square of the radius r squared. Okay, so this is the first equation I can form from here. So find the percentage change in gravitational field strength if the radius is reduced to 1/5 of its original value. Okay, so over here, what does this mean? So at first, they say that originally, I call this G1, original gravitational field strength is equal to k over r1 squared. Okay, now the new one, now change r2, the new radius, is equal to 1 over 5 or 1/5 of r1. So therefore, the new gravitational field strength G2 is equal to k over 1 over 5th of r1, the whole thing squared. Okay, so how do I simplify this? This will be simply k over 1 over 25 of r1 square. Okay, I bring in the square to the terms in the denominator. So how to visualize a fraction within a fraction? To make it easier, we can rewrite this to become k divided by r1 square over 25. Okay, which is K times 25 over R1 square. So this means that actually over here, let me bring it upwards. G2 is equal to 25 times K over R1 square. Okay, so this means that since I know that K over R1 square, this is equal to G1. So this means that G2 is 25 times of G1. Okay, so therefore from here, percentage change in the gravitational field strength, okay, originally it is, the new one is 25 G1. At first I only got 1 G1, now become 25 G1. So the change is 25 G1 minus G1 over the original amount, which is G1. Okay, times 100%. This will become 25. I can cancel out G1 to become 25 minus 1 over 1 times 100%. Answer will become 24 times 100%, which is 2,400%. Okay, so therefore the percentage change would be 2,400%. Okay, this is for question number 12. Alright. Okay, this is a slightly more trickier question. Okay, let's move on to question number 13. Okay, question number 13. Triangles ABC and AED are similar. Okay, so similar triangles means that the angles are the same. Okay, find the value of A. So over here, angle A is angle AED. So I know that in the small triangle, angle AED, okay, is equal to the big triangle by matching the vertices. AED will match with angle ABC. Okay, so this means that in the big triangles, this is the same as angle ABC. And then know that from here, the diagram, this is 36 degree. So therefore, A is equal to 36. Okay. Okay, value of AA is equal to 36. Alright. Moving forward. Find the length of CE. Okay, so we know that for similar triangles, since they are similar, okay, we can first form the ratio of the equations. I know that AB, big triangle, AB will match with the small triangle, AE. Next one, big triangle, let's say I have AC. AC will match with the small triangle, AD. AC over AD. Then next one, last one, big triangle, let's say BC will match with the small triangle, ED. BC over ED. Okay, so for the part B, find the length of CE. I want to find the length of CE, which is part of AC. So I must first find the length of AC here, which I don't know. Okay, so over here, let's sub in information that I know. I know that AB is 7.7 plus 2.1, which will give me 9.8. So this is AB here. Let me label AB over here. Okay, this length here is 9.8. So 9.8 over AE, which is 2.8, is equal to AC over AD, which is 2.4, which is equal to BC, which is unknown, over ED, 2.4. Okay, so in order to find AC, okay, we will use these two values here to solve for AC. Okay, so very simply, I will bring this equation down. So therefore, to solve this equation, therefore, 9.8 divided by 2.8 is equal to AC divided by 2.4. Therefore, AC is simply equals to 2.4 times 9.8 over 2.8. Okay, therefore, calculate this, you will get 7.35. Okay, therefore from here, CE, I know the length of AC. CE is simply AC minus away 2.8. Okay, so therefore CE is equal to 7.35 minus 2.8. You will get 4.55. Okay, and that is your answer for this part of the question. Okay, alright, let's now move on to question 14a. Okay, over here, 11 blue marbles, 9 red marbles, and X number of green marbles. Find the probability that the marble is green. So, total number of marbles. Total number of marbles is equal to 11 plus 9 plus x, which is 20 plus x. Therefore, probability that I have a green marble. We first find how many green marbles do I have, which is x over the total number of marbles, which is 20 plus x. So answer is simply x divided by 20 plus x. Okay, this is for part A. Part B over here. If the probability of drawing a green marble from the box is 2 over 7, find the total number of marbles in the blocks. So they are saying that if this probability is 2 over 7, find the total number, which is 20 plus x. So this means x over 20 plus x is equal to 2 over 7. So very simple, we can solve this equation by cross multiplying. 7x equals to 40 plus 2x. So therefore, 5x equals to 40, x equals to 8. Okay, therefore, total number of marbles. Total number of marbles is simply equals to 20 plus 8, which is 28. Okay, and this is for part 2. Okay, alright. Let's now look at question number 15. Okay, question number 15 here. Express this as a single fraction in its simplest form. Okay, so in order to do that, let's work this out step by step. Okay, so over here, this can be seen as, over here, remember to add fractions together, the denominator must be the same. Okay, so how do I make denominator the same? Okay, let's simplify the fractions first. We first make sure that the denominator can be seen over here. xy minus y square can be seen as y times x minus y. Okay, so first number here, 1, I must multiply the entire y times xy minus y square. This fraction here, I just need to multiply a y. Okay, so over here, this means xy minus y square over xy minus y square plus, continue to simplify, we have y times y. Okay, I'll multiply y to get y times x minus y, minus away x square over y minus x minus y. Okay, then now I can combine all the fractions together because now all the denominators are the same. Okay, take note, xy minus y square is the same as y times x minus y. Okay, so I combine everything together, I'll get xy minus y square, y times y is y square, plus y square minus x square. Okay, over y times x minus y. Then I continue to simplify. Negative y square plus y square, this is becomes 0. So xy minus x square over y times x minus y. Okay, I want to simplify further. Numerator can factorize out common factor, which is x. So I'll get x over y minus x. Okay, over y times x minus y. Then we look at this again. Does this look familiar? The terms are the same, but the signs are different. Y minus x and x minus y. How do I make them the same? I can take out the sign, negative sign. So let's say I take out negative sign from the numerator. Negative x, this will become, negative x will become positive x. Positive y will become negative y. X minus y over y times x minus y. Now that the factors are the same, I can then cancel out x minus y. I will be left with negative x over y. And that is your final answer to this question. So answer is negative x over y. Okay. Alright, moving forward. Question number 16. Okay, John and Amir are bringing their families to the Esplanade for a concert. One adult ticket is X, child ticket is Y. So he bought 2 adult tickets and 3 child tickets and paid $200. So very simply, this means 2 times X plus 3 times Y equals to 200. Next one, 1 adult ticket, X plus 2 child ticket, 2Y is equal to 119. Okay, last step. Find the cost of 1 adult ticket and 1 child ticket. So the question is asking us to find out what is X plus Y. Okay, so very simply, I first write down my 2 equations that I have. 2x plus 3y equals to 200 and x plus 2y equals to 119. Okay, so I got equation 1, equation 2. To me, I would think elimination would be the easiest method over here. So let's say equation 2, I times 2. Okay, I will get 2x plus 4y is equal to 2, 3, 8. I call this equation number 3. Okay, so equation number 1 is 2x plus 3y. Equation number 3 is 2x plus 4y. So to find out what is y, I simply take equation 3 minus away equation 1. So everything on the left side of equation 3, 2x minus 4y minus away 2x plus 3y plus 4y minus away 2x plus 3y is equal to everything on the right side of equation 3, 238 minus away 200. Okay, so therefore this will leave me with y is equal to 38. Okay, so over here, when y is equal to 38, I sub into any equation. Let's say I sub into equation number 2. Okay, x plus 2 times 38 is equal to 119. So this means that x will be equals to 119 minus away 2 times 38. Okay, which will give me 119 minus 76. This will give me 43. Okay, so therefore, I found the value of x and y. Therefore, x plus y will be equals to, find the cost of one. Oh, the question is asking us to find them separately. So don't need to find x plus y, I just realized. Okay, over here, I know that x is adult ticket, x is $43, y is equal to 38. Okay, and this is your answer for part C. Okay, moving forward. Okay, question number 17. This diagram shows a solid formed by removing a cone and a hemisphere from the cylinder. Height of the cone is 5 cm. So this height here is 5 cm. Okay, find the volume of the solid shown. Okay, so I know that volume of cylinder is equal to base area times height pi r square h. And in this case over here will be pi. Radius, take note now, diameter of this cylinder is 6, means radius is 3, square times height, which is 12. Okay, so over here we simplify. Okay, you can leave your answers in terms of pi. 9 times 12 is 108 pi. Okay, next part. Volume of the, let's say we start by the cone first. Cone is equal to 1/3 pi r square h. Okay, which is 1/3 times pi times radius is 3 square times the height, which is 5. Okay, so over here cone is simply 15 pi, volume of the cone. And the last one, volume of hemisphere, is half the volume of a sphere, okay, which will give us half times 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, and over here, we know radius of this sphere is 3. So half times 4/3 times pi times 3 cubed. Okay, so over here, this will give me 18 pi. So therefore, very simply, volume of the solid is simply volume of solid will be the volume of the entire cylinder, 108 pi minus away the cone 15 pi minus away 18 pi. Okay, you will simply get over here 108 minus 15 minus 18, I will get 75 pi. Okay, and if I turn 75 pi, convert this to 3SF, I will get 236 cm cubed rounded off to 3SF. Okay, so you can leave your answer either in this or this, but I think since the question never say leave your answers in terms of pi, we will leave it to 3SF, which is 236. Okay, last one, find the total area of the solid. Okay, so over here, if you still remember, area of this solid is the curved area of this cylinder plus the curved area of the cone plus curved area of the surface area of this cylinder, of this hemisphere here. Okay, so let's break it down step by step. Okay, maybe let me just bring the solid down, that you can see clearly. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's look at this diagram here. Okay, alright, to find the curved surface area, okay, curved surface area of cylinder. I hope you remember that for cylinder, curved surface area is simply 2 pi RH. Okay, meaning that it is the diameter of this circle times the height of this cylinder. So this will be 2 pi times radius 3 times height, which is 12, which will give me 6 times 12, which is 72 pi. Okay, next part. Okay, next part, curve, or maybe not curve lah. This for next part is the hemisphere. Surface area of hemisphere. Okay, it is half the surface area of a sphere, which is half times 4 pi r squared, which will be 2 pi times 3 squared, which is 18 pi. Okay, and the last one, how to find curved surface area of this. I need to find curved surface area of cone. The formula for curved surface area of cone is pi RL, meaning that for this cone over here, I need to find what is the slant length. Okay, this length I highlight in yellow over here. But how do we do that? We know that the vertical height here is 5. I know that the radius of this triangle is 3. So therefore, to find L, okay, this means that L is, since I can see a right angled triangle, by Pythagoras theorem, the slant length over here, L, is equal to 5 square plus 3 square, which is square root of 34. Okay, so therefore this is simply pi times radius, which is 3, times square root 34. Okay, so answer, this is 3 square root 34 pi. Therefore, answer to this question, therefore, total surface area is simply surface area of the cylinder, which curved surface area of the cylinder, which is 72 pi plus 18 pi plus 3 root 34 pi. Okay, then you press in your calculator, you should get 338 cm squared. Round off to 3SF. Okay, 338. Okay, this is for part B. Alright. Okay, let's now look at question number 18. Question number 18, there's an escalator, AC and AD in a shopping center. Escalator of length 16 cm leads to first floor. AD, this one leads to second floor over here. Okay, so find the height between the basement and the first floor. So we can first look at this triangle over here. We know that this, in this case here, okay, this is obviously a right angled triangle. Okay, I can then use, if I see a right angled triangle, I can use Tuakasu. Based on this angle over here, hypotenuse is here, opposite is this length here, and AB is the adjacent side. So I want to find the opposite length. I know the hypotenuse, O and A. By Tuakasu, okay, I want to find the opposite length O. I got H, I will use sine. Okay, I will use so. So this means that sine 30 degree is equal to opposite, which is BC, over the hypotenuse, which is 16. So therefore BC is equal to 16 times sine 30. Okay, this will be equals to 8. Okay, so answer for this question is equal to 8. Okay, next part, find the height between the first floor and the second floor. Okay, so now I'm trying to find this length, which I'll highlight in green right now. Okay, in order to find this length, I now need to look at a new right angled triangle, which is this right angled triangle over here. Okay, let me highlight this right angled triangle in green. Remember, we can only use Tuakasu for right angled triangles. So how do I find this new length over here? Okay, I want to find the height between the first floor and the second floor. Okay, so what we can do first is let's find the length of this AB over here. Okay, so how do I do that? Okay, I can first use the first triangle here. Okay, now I want to find the length AB. I want to find the adjacent side. I know the hypotenuse. I can use car instead. So cosine 30 degrees is equal to AB over the hypotenuse, which is 16. Okay, so therefore AB is equal to 16 cosine 30 degree. I won't press this in my calculator yet because this is the most exact form. Okay, next, now I know the length of AB here. This length here is 16 cosine 30 degrees. Okay, I know that this length here is 22. Okay, therefore, in order to find this length here, I can simply use Pythagoras theorem. Okay, so by Pythagoras theorem, I know that BD is equal to square root of hypotenuse square, 22 square, minus away the other length, 16 cosine 30 degrees, the whole thing square. Okay, press on your calculator, you should get square root of 292. Okay, this value inside this square root here should be 292. Okay, therefore, now I found the length of CD. I found the length of BD. In order to find the length of CD, I'll have to minus away 8. Okay, so very simply, over here, therefore, CD is equal to square root of 292 minus 8, which is, press in your calculator to 3SF, 9.09. Okay, round off to 3SF. Okay, this is for part B, 9.09. Okay, take note, the question never say that first floor and second floor the height are the same. We cannot assume that it is the same height. So therefore, we have to use other methods. Cannot just find this then divide by 2. Or take this value then times 2. Okay. Last one. Find angle DAC. So let's look at my diagram again. Angle DAC is this angle over here. But this is not a right angled triangle. So first, what should I do then? I should first now find out what is this big angle over here first. Okay. How to find this big angle means I will use this green color triangle. I know two lengths, here and here. Okay. Based on this angle here, this is the adjacent side, this is the hypotenuse. So I can use cosine. Okay, cosine of angle BAD in this green triangle is equal to the adjacent side, which is 16 cosine 30 degrees, divided by hypotenuse, which is 22. Okay, so this means that angle BAD is equal to cosine inverse 16 cosine 30 degrees divided by 22. Press in a calculator, you should get 50.9619 degree. Okay, so this means that the big angle BAD is this. Therefore, in order to find angle DAC, to find this angle over here, it will be this big angle here minus away 30. Okay, so very simply, angle DAC is equal to 50.9619 degree minus away 30 degree, which will give me 20.9619. Final answer for angles run off to 1 dp, I will get 21.0 degree, 1 dp. Okay, this is for angle DAC, 21.0 degrees. Okay. Alright, moving forward. Question number 19. Okay, Jackson is planning to buy a series of LED spotlights for his indoor garden. Okay, LED spotlights have a beam angle of theta, where the greatest brightness is within the circular area here. Okay, so this is the beam angle. Okay, show that the diameter of the circular beam on the floor for brand A LED is 1.2965. Okay, so over here, what this question is saying is that the question wants you to show that this distance here, let me label this distance here, D, is 1.2965. Okay, so how do we do that? Let's first look at, if I use brand A, okay, we can imagine if I were to use brand A, the beam angle is 28. So this means that if I were to look at this triangle here, I can cut this triangle into half. Okay, I can cut this triangle into half. Okay, then I can now form a right angled triangle. Let me use blue color thing. Okay, I can form a right angled triangle. Okay, this angle here, this angle here is 28 divided by 2, which is 14 degree. Because for brand A, the beam angle here is 28 degree. So if I were to draw a right angled triangle that cuts this beam angle to half, this is 14 degree. The distance between the false ceiling to the floor of the garden is 2.6. So this distance here is 2.6. And this is obviously a right angled triangle. Okay, so this means that this here, from the center of the circle to the edge of the circle, this is the radius of the circle. We call this R. I can then form, based on this angle over here, this is the hypotenuse, opposite adjacent. Let me write that down. Hypotenuse, opposite adjacent side. I want to find the radius R. So this means that tangent 14 degrees is equal to, tangent is O over A, so opposite, which is radius, over 2.6. So therefore, R is equal to 2.6 tangent 14 degrees. Okay, so therefore, the diameter is simply, diameter is equal to 2 times of the radius, 2 times 2.6 tangent 14 degree, which will give me 1.2965 meters. Okay, and this is round off to 5 SF. So this is for part A over here. Okay, then the next part. Okay, he decides to install the LED spotlight in one straight row for his indoor garden. He wants to do it such that the circular beams do not exceed both ends of the garden, and circular beams do not overlap, and at least 60% of the garden should be lit by the circular beams. Okay, so over here, very simply, we can first find how many spotlights we need in order to cover the whole garden over here. Okay, so let's start by, let's say if we use brand A. Okay, how do I find how many spotlights do I need? Okay, I know that the diameter, in this case over here, for brand A, I already know that the diameter of this beam is 1.2965. Okay, so over here, how do I calculate how many spotlights do I need? Okay, very simply, what we can do is to take this entire length here, 5.5. I know that for brand A, this is one diameter, which is, this is the diameter of one spotlight. Okay, so very simply over here, let's break your workings very clearly into different parts. Brand A, number of spotlight needed. Okay, I know that the width of this is 5.5. The length of this entire garden here is 5.5. Okay, this entire length here is 5.5. The diameter we found from part A, the diameter of one spotlight is 1.2965. Okay, so we can take the entire length here, 5.5 divide by 1.2965. Okay, therefore, if I were to calculate this, right, I'll get 4.242. This means that over here, the entire length over here, I can take 4.242 spotlights. Obviously, I cannot get 5 spotlights, so therefore, the maximum number of spotlights that we can get, therefore, max number of spotlights will be equals to 4. Okay, and I know that this beam here is 1.8, the diameter is 1.29, so I can only fit one spotlight. I cannot fit any other spotlight anymore. Okay, so let's check area covered by the spotlight. Because the question says the area covered by the spotlight must be at least 60% of the entire area of the garden. Okay, so area covered by the spotlight, since I got 4 circles, it is simply 4 pi r squared times pi, the radius is 2.6 tangent 14. This is the radius of one circle. 0.6 tangent 14 degrees. Okay, which will give me 5.2808 meters square. So therefore, percentage of area covered, I check, of area covered by this spotlight will be 5.2808 over the total area of the garden, which is 5.5 times 1.8. Okay, times 100%. I'll realize that I will get 53.3%. So that means if I were to use brand A, I will only cover 53.3%, which is less than 60%. Therefore, brand A is rejected. Okay, as it covers less than 60% of the area of the garden. Okay, so this is the steps to get the working of to determine if we can use brand A. Let's now look at brand B. Okay, brand B over here. Okay, brand B. So if you were to work out everything, right, actually the steps are very similar. Let me make this a bit smaller. Okay. So now let's see if I were to use brand B. Okay, brand B. The steps are similar first. We first have to find what is the diameter of one circle. And we can do that by first using the same steps as what we did over here. Okay, I know that brand B, beam angle is 25. If I were to draw a right angled triangle, this angle here will become 12.5. Okay, so therefore for brand B, the steps are similar. Tangent 12.5 degree is equal to the radius of the circle divided by 2.6. So the radius of the circle is 2.6 tangent 12.5 degrees. Okay. Then from here, this means that the diameter of one spotlight is equal to 2 times 2.6 tangent 12.5 degrees, which will give me 1.1528 meters. So that means that here I can only fit one circle. Okay, then over here, how across this 5.5 meters, how many spotlights can I fit? So therefore, number of spotlights needed will be equals to 5.5 divided by 1.1528. Okay, so if I calculate in your calculator, divide by 1.1528, I will get 4.7710. Okay, therefore, max number of spotlights, I can only have 4.77. Obviously, you cannot fit 5 spotlights, so max number of spotlights is also equals to 4. In this case, if I were to use brand B, it's also 4 spotlights. So let's now check area covered by spotlight. Okay, so therefore, area covered by spotlight, by these 4 spotlights, if I were to use brand B, is equal to 4 pi r squared times 4 times pi times 2.6 tangent 12.5 the whole thing square. Okay, this will be 4.1751 meters square. So therefore, percentage of area covered in the garden, same as spotlight A, 4.1751. This is even less than brand A. 55.5 times 1.8 times 100%. This gives me 42.2%, which is not 60% as well. So therefore, brand B is also rejected. Brand B is rejected as the area, as it covers less than 60% as well. Okay. Now the last one, brand C. I hope that brand C is finally the one that we can choose. So the steps are very similar again. Okay, so if you can follow the concept of how we work out this problem here, you would be able to get the solution to this question. So very simply, branch C, okay, steps are the same. Tangent, half of the beam angle, which is 36. In this case, it will be tangent 18 degrees is equal to R over 2.6. So the radius R for branch C is 2.6 tangent 18 degree. Okay, so therefore, diameter of the spotlight in branch C is equal to 2 times 2.6 tangent 18 degree, which will be 1.6896 meters. So that means over here, it can only fit one spotlight. Let's find how many spotlights can fit within 5.5 meters. So therefore, number of spotlight needed is equals to 5.5 divided by 1.6896. Okay, so if you press in a calculator, 5.5 divided by 1.6896, I'll get 3.2552. Therefore, max number of spotlights you can use, max number of spotlight is equal to 3. Okay, so then now let's check area covered by spotlight. By spotlight is equal to 3 circles times pi r square 2.6 tangent 18 square, which gives me 6.7262 meters square. Okay, so therefore in this case here, percentage of area covered by the spotlight is equal to 6.7262 divided by 5.5 times 1.8 times 100%. Okay. Therefore, final answer to this question, I'll get 67.9% if I round off to 3 SF. Therefore, this satisfies the condition that area must be more than 60%. Okay. Therefore, answer to this question, he should choose brand C. Choose brand C. Okay. And this is the solution to this long question over here. Okay, so if you notice, right, actually if you can work out, right, the steps for each brand is the same, as long as you can identify what are the important steps to take note. In this case, it's to find the radius of the circle and then the diameter, to find out how many circles can fit within this garden. Then we find the area that that the total number of spotlights take. Okay, and with that, we have come to the end of this paper.